Okay, so picture this. A war, but hold on, not your typical bombs and tanks kind of thing. We're talking weaponized hurricanes, earthquakes, even, at a moment's notice. Straight out of a movie,
Yeah,
real.
kind of makes you think of some sci-fi action flick, doesn't it? But,
Uh,
this whole idea of environmental warfare, it's been a concern for a while now, decades even.
and that's what we're diving into today. This ENO convention, it's a treaty from way back in 76 that tackles this crazy idea, war and the environment. We're going deep into excerpts from the ICRC, that's the International Committee of the Red Cross, their fact sheet, to break it all down.
Right, and it's not just about, like, saving the trees from a stray missile or something. This gets into some serious territory. What's fair play when you're talking about the planet itself?
Yeah, more like, don't go full supervillain on us and whip up a tsunami.
Exactly. This is about making sure no one, no country, decides to turn nature into some kind of weapon of mass destruction. And that brings us to the core of it all. Article 1 lays down the law, basically. No environmental modification techniques if they're going to cause widespread, long-lasting, or severe damage when used, for hostile reasons.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Widespread, long-lasting, severe. Those are some big words. What do they actually mean, practically speaking?
So that's where the understandings come in. Think of them like the fine print, clarifying the big stuff. Widespread, we're talking hundreds of square kilometers. Like picture a small country. That's the scale we're talking about here.
Wow, okay, so not just messing with one little forest or river somewhere. We're talking entire regions.
Exactly. And then there's long-lasting, we're talking months, a whole season out of whack. Think about what that does to agriculture, to like whole ways of life.
That's intense. And severe, what makes environmental damage severe enough to fall under this ENMOD thing?
Well, think major disruption. Human life, economies, natural resources, contamination of water supplies, widespread crop failure, or like destroying critical infrastructure because the environment's been messed with.
Okay, so this is feeling less like a sci-fi movie now and more like a very real, very scary thing. The treaty actually gives examples, right? To make sure everyone's got it.
Yeah, we're talking triggering earthquakes, tsunamis, disrupting whole ecosystems.
Yeah.
Imagine messing with the ozone layer.
Hey, hold on, messing with the ozone layer, like someone could actually weaponize that.
That's the kind of thing they're trying to prevent. Even manipulating weather patterns, like making droughts to ruin food supplies, or, like you said before, weaponized hurricanes.
So this isn't just like a far out idea then. These are real possibilities, right? And ENMO is trying to keep them in check.
Exactly. The whole point is to send a message. Using the environment as a weapon, that's not okay. But, and this is important, EMOD isn't working alone here.
Yeah. There's more.
Yeah, there's another part to this environmental protection thing. Additional Protocol I. It's part of the Geneva Conventions. Think of it like ENMOD's partner.
Yeah.
Okay, a tag team dedicated to protecting the planet, even in the middle of a war. Love it. So tell me more. What is this protocol all about? It really gets into the details of war, right? Article 35.3. That one basically says, nope, you can't cause widespread, long-term, severe environmental damage through any methods of warfare.
So even if there's some loophole in EMOD, this protocol is there like, tried that, still a no-go.
You got it. This protocol is backing EMOD up. Environment's off limits. But it goes further than that. It's got this thing called Article 55.
Okay, more rules. Hit me with it. What does Article 55 bring to the table?
Article 55, that's the one about retaliation, using the environment to get back at someone.
Hold on, retaliation. Maybe break that down for me a bit.
Okay, so say country A goes and bombs a factory in country B, right? And then country B, they decide, oh yeah, we'll take this, and they poison country A's water supply. That's attacking the environment as reprisal. Getting revenge, basically, but by harming the environment.
Yeah, like kicking someone when they're already down.
Exactly. It's going to escalate things. And Article 55 is there saying, nope, not cool. Even if you're trying to get even, environmental warfare, that's a no-go.
It's kind of wild that we even need rules about this, but here we are.
It shows you how seriously they take environmental protection, even in the middle of a war. Because it's not just about the planet, right? This is about people. Harming the environment during a war, that has huge consequences for people, for their health, how they make a living, rebuilding after the fighting stops.
Makes you think about things like Agent Orange back in Vietnam. All that environmental damage and the effects, on the Vietnamese people and even U.S. veterans, it's still going on.
Exactly. And sadly, there are plenty of other examples. History's full of them. The long-term consequences of environmental damage during war, that's why it's so important to have these rules in place.
Okay, so we've got ENMOD, we've got this additional protocol I, both laying down the law. But are these rules actually changing things? Like, are countries really out there tempted to whip up a tsunami on their enemies? Does this stuff actually come up?
$1 million question, right?
That,
Truth is, these treaties, they're only as strong as the countries that follow them.
like they say, rules are made to be broken.
Right. There's no, like, environmental police out there handing out tickets. But that doesn't mean these agreements are pointless. It sets a global standard, and then it's about holding nations accountable when they don't meet it.
So it's about getting the word out, letting people know these rules exist. That's where things like this podcast come in, right? Getting people talking.
Exactly. The more we talk about it, the more people understand what's at stake, the more likely it is that governments will actually feel the pressure to, do the right thing. It's about making environmental destruction not just morally wrong, but a violation of international law, in everyone's minds.
So it's bigger than just some document. It's about how we think about war itself and what comes after. Because the environment, it's not just some backdrop for a war, it's something we all share and we have to protect it.
100%. And
Wow.
that brings up something really important, something we should dig into a little more. What if, and just hear me out, what if manipulating the environment becomes easy? Like, really easy. What then? Where do we draw the line?
Okay, now we're getting into some seriously deep stuff.
We are. And that's where we need to go. Because the question isn't just can we do these things, but should we? Even if we think it's for the best.
All right, I'm ready. Let's dive into it. All right, so we've got these rules, right? We've talked about what's at stake, but now we're getting to the really wild part. What if, and stay with me here, what if messing with the environment, like weaponizing it, it becomes not just possible, but easy? Where do we even begin to draw the line?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? And it's a tough one. I mean, think about it. You've got the potential for some seriously bad stuff. Wars fought with, like, hurricanes on a string, earthquakes right where you need them. It's kind of scary when you really think about it.
It's a pretty bleak
Yeah,
picture, yeah.
it is. But here's another angle. What if, and I know this sounds crazy, but what if someone figures out how to stop a hurricane, like completely,
Well,
or make an earthquake less destructive? Would those be considered weapons, even if they're used for, good?
that's a tough one. Because, yeah, you're saving lives, maybe preventing a disaster, but you're still messing with nature, right, for some kind of advantage.
Exactly. And then who gets to decide when it's okay? Who
Yep.
makes the rules? Those are the questions we got to be thinking about, like, right now, before it's too late.
So it's more than just keeping this tech out of the wrong hands. We need to be ready, like ethically ready, for a world where it exists, even if it's used for the right reasons.
Exactly. Pandora's box and all that. Once it's open, it's open.
Yeah.
And and there's always the law of unintended consequences, right? What if someone tries to, like, calm down a hurricane
Yeah.
and they accidentally make it worse?
Yeah.
Or send it in the wrong direction?
It's a lot of power, and it really makes you realize how delicate the balance of nature really is.
No kidding. And, it really emphasizes how important it is for everyone to work together, to talk to each other, to agree on what the limits should be when it comes to this kind of technology.
Well, this has been quite a deep dive. We started with weaponized hurricanes,
Mm.
like something out of a movie, and we ended up in this whole ethical maze thinking about the future of war and how we treat the planet.
It's all connected, though, right? That's what I love about these deep dives. Scratch the surface and you find all these huge questions underneath.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're going to leave you with this. Imagine you get to write the rules for this crazy future where we can control the weather, where messing with the environment is a real possibility. What's the most important rule? Think about it. That's all for today's deep dive, but come back again soon as we uncover more about this crazy